A massive investigation has uncovered that California may have committed major fraud against the US government by exploiting this complicated loophole that's allowed them to steal billions in federal taxpayer funds. One of the largest and most convoluted schemes in modern history has been discovered during a review of California's medical financial records. Investigators found that under Gavin Newsom's leadership, the Golden State has essentially been funneling taxpayer money from all across America to prop up California's own finances. The ingenious plan started in 2022 and it revolves around the complex concept of intergovernmental transfers, which in simple terms is when a local hospital or county makes a transfer to the state Medicaid agency for payments of medical services such as ambulance rides. After the transfers are made, the state can then request a matching amount of money from the federal government, but Newsom's California abused this system by raising the price of a simple ambulance ride by nearly 300%, and then once the local hospitals made the transfer to the states and the state received the matching funds from the federal government, they then instead paid a private ambulance service which cost only a fraction of the original price, pocketing the difference. But the thing is, this is all legal and the government must find a way to close this loophole.
Good evening, America, and a very happy new year to you and your beautiful families. Welcome to Harlan Reports. I'm Harlan, your trusted voice for the truth, coming to you live from the very heart of our nation.
California Congressman Kevin Kiley, he is sounding the alarm in his home state, saying under Governor Gavin Newsom's leadership, it has become the, quote, fraud capital of America.
And we have team coverage. Our national correspondent, Alana Austin, is on Capitol Hill with more on the investigations into Tim Walz. But we start with correspondent Heather Myers, who has more on what is going on in California. A rainy day out there on the West Coast. Heather, what can you tell us?
Well, good afternoon to you, Katrina and Andrew. This latest report was issued by the state auditor, and that's a nonpartisan position. That state auditor now puts 8 state agencies on the high-risk list of agencies to watch out for things like fraud and mismanagement as well as waste. Here's a look at that 92-page report. Newly added to the high-risk list is California's food stamp program. If the state doesn't get the improper payments under control, it could cost an extra $2.5 billion. Also on there is the Department of Finance, which was tasked with giving out COVID relief funds. Critics say $32 billion of that was taken by fraudsters. Then there are infrastructure issues like California's deteriorating dams and also the high-speed train that's already cost taxpayers $18 billion without a single section of track complete. Other reports cite $24 billion spent on the homeless issue that critics claim the state lost track of. More recently, there's a report that says California cell phone users paid a surcharge for years to upgrade the state's 911 system. Here's Congressman Kevin Kiley talking about what happened to that plan.
That after spending $650 million on that system, the state is totally scrapping it and starting over, completely wasted the money because the technology doesn't work. Mind you, we are very close to Silicon Valley in Sacramento, and yet the government can't figure out how to make basic technology perform.
Folks, I want you to pull your chairs a little closer to the screen tonight. Usually, we start the new year with fireworks and resolutions full of hope. But tonight, my heart is heavy and my blood is boiling. We have breaking news is shaking the very ground we walk on. It is a story so big, so heartbreaking, and yet so inspiring because of who is fighting for us that you need to hear every single word. Buckle up, patriots. The truth has arrived. Just moments ago, literally while I was putting on my microphone, the IRS dropped a bombshell report that changes everything. It is the kind of news that makes you want to cry and scream at the same time. Investigators have blown the lid off a secret that has been hidden in the shadows of California. They found that $800 million, that is nearly $1 billion, of federal money is gone. Now, let's talk about what that money was for. It wasn't for fancy parties. It wasn't for politicians. It was meant for you. It was meant for the brave families in California who watched their homes burn to the ground in those terrible wildfires. It was for the moms and dads who lost baby photos, wedding dresses, and the roofs over their heads. It was meant to help them rebuild their lives. But the IRS says that money never reached them, not a dime. Instead, this report claims that the money was secretly moved, funneled away like a thief in the night, into an organization called Cal Volunteers. And guess who runs that group? Jennifer Siebel Newsom. That is Gavin Newsom's wife. Can you imagine? While children were sleeping in tents because their homes were ash, the money sent to save them was reportedly going to a politician's family project. It breaks my heart into a million pieces just thinking about the cruelty of it. It is a betrayal of the highest order. It is taking food from the hungry and giving it to the powerful. But dry those tears, folks, because we are not alone in this fight. Our president, Donnie J. Trump, is watching this unfold right now, just like we are, and he is furious. He is not hiding in an office. He is roaring for justice. President Trump, our fearless champion, looked at this report and demanded one thing immediately: prison. He is calling this a racketeering scheme and demanding immediate jail time for anyone who stole from American victims. This is happening live. The report is on my desk, the ink is barely dry, and the president is leading the charge. He is standing tall for every forgotten family, saying, "No more." This is the battle between right and wrong, and thank God we have a fighter in the White House who knows the difference. Stay with me, because this is just the beginning.
So Gavin Newsom and his wife actually created an organization just to steal some of the fire aid money. Like, how this man is still governor of California and not behind bars is fucking mind-blowing. So I'm sure most of you have heard about the fire aid controversy, you know, where they had this concert to raise $100 million for the victims of the Palisade fires. And people started asking, hey, where the fuck did all that money go? Because there's not a single person who was a victim of the Palisade fires who's seen a cent of it. And through some investigative journalism, what we found is that they distributed the money in 2 rounds. Now, the first round just went to just a fuckload of NGOs. Like, some of them have nothing whatsoever to do with fire recovery, but they handed out $50 million apparently to all these corporations, and nobody did a fucking thing. But then when we got to round 2, this shit got even murkier, because when you actually look at the names of who was given money under round 2, you saw this little organization called Cal Volunteers. Now, that organization is no longer listed as a recipient on the website. Funny how once the story broke, they took their name off the website. I mean, that doesn't look guilty at all. But Cal Volunteers is an organization that was recently created by Gavin Newsom and his wife, and they have never done fucking anything before this. This organization was created strictly for the purpose of getting fire aid money. And they've not said what they plan to do with the money they got. They haven't even said how much of the money they received. No, all they did when people noticed that fucking Gavin Newsom's organization was getting money was take down their name and their organization from the website where the fire aid money went. So, like, not only did these fires happen because Gavin Newsom is a shit governor and doesn't know how to manage shit, not only was the response to these fires complete and total dog shit because Gavin Newsom's a horrible governor, but after his failures, he then created an organization just to siphon off money that they raised to take care of the people that he was supposed to take care of. This dude is a top tier fucking criminal.
Let me paint a picture for you, folks, because numbers like 800 million can feel too big to understand. So, let's forget the math for a second and talk about the people. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a family. Let's call them the Millers. Just a regular mom and dad, maybe like your neighbors, with 2 little kids and a golden retriever. Imagine standing in front of your house, the place where you marked your kids' heights on the door frame, where you had Christmas dinners and backyard barbecues. Now, imagine watching a wall of fire, hotter than anything you've ever felt, swallow it whole. In minutes, everything you worked for, your entire life turns into a pile of gray ash. The photos of your wedding, gone. Your baby's first blanket, gone. That is what happened to thousands of good, hard-working folks right here in California. They lost everything, and when the smoke cleared, they were promised help. They were told, "Don't worry, your country has your back." That federal aid money was supposed to be their lifeline. It was supposed to buy new roofs to keep the rain out. It was supposed to put warm food on the table when the cupboards were bare. It was supposed to give them a fresh start. But according to this bombshell report hitting my desk, that help never came. While the Millers were sleeping in a cold tent, shivering, and wondering how they'd buy school clothes, that money was slipping away. It was reportedly being funneled into Cal Volunteers, that organization run by Gavin Newsom's wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom. Think about that. It's like seeing a child crying because they're hungry, taking the sandwich meant for them, and giving it to a rich friend instead. It makes you sick to your stomach, doesn't it? It's not just unfair, it's cruel. It is a slap in the face to every firefighter who risked their life, and every family who trusted their government. And this is exactly why President Trump is so angry right now. He isn't just a politician reading a script. He's a father and a grandfather. He feels this pain. When he heard about this, he didn't just shake his head. He stood up and shouted for the world to hear. He knows that money belongs to you, the people, not the powerful elites. And seeing him fight for the mislers, for the forgotten families, gives me goosebumps. It reminds us that we finally have someone who cares more about the people in the tents than the people in the mansions. Now, I want to talk to you man to man, heart to heart. You know me, I've been sitting in a news chair, looking into a camera just like this one, for over 40 years. I started way back when Ronald Reagan was in the White House. Back when America was learning how to be proud again. I have seen scandals. I have seen politicians lie to get votes. I have seen them take trips on private jets paid for by your taxes. I thought I had seen it all. But this makes my stomach turn. This makes me want to weep for our country. In 4 decades of reporting, I have never seen something so low as stealing from people who have already lost everything. We aren't talking about skimming a little off the top of a bridge project. We are talking about money meant to wipe the soot off a child's face and put a roof over a grandmother's head, and instead, it went to an organization run by the wife of a powerful politician. It is the kind of corruption you read about in history books, the kind that ruins nations. But here is the good news, and it is why I am smiling through my anger tonight. We have a president who remembers those fires. I remember covering President Trump back in 2020 and 2023, when the flames were high. I saw him. He didn't wait for the red tape. He didn't wait for permission slips. He signed disaster declarations faster than you can blink. He said, get them help and get it there now. That is the Donald Trump I know. He is a builder. When he sees a problem, he fixes it with guts and grit. He sees a family in trouble and he wants to save them. He doesn't look at a disaster and see a way to get rich. He sees Americans who need a hero. And now, on this New Year's Day, as the smoke from last night's fireworks is still clearing, he is turning the tables on the people who did this. This IRS report proves that Trump was right to ask questions. It proves that his push to see where every dollar goes is working. He is rooting out the rot. He is shining a bright light into the darkest corners of the swamp. And the creatures hiding there are finally being exposed. Let me tell you what is happening right this second, outside of the Washington bubble, where real life happens. This news isn't just staying on your TV screen. It is traveling fast, from phone to phone, neighbor to neighbor. Just yesterday, while I was preparing for this show, I spoke to a brave woman named Sarah from Fresno. Sarah is a single mom, raising 2 beautiful kids on her own. Back in 2023, the campfire aftermath took her home. She lost the walls that held her family safe. Since then, she has been scraping by, working double shifts, just trying to keep her head above water. When I told her about this news, about the money that was stolen, and about President Trump's fight to get it back, she didn't get angry. She started to cry. But these weren't tears of sadness, folks. Her voice was shaking when she said to me, Harlan, that money could have changed everything for us. We could have had a real home again. But knowing President Trump is fighting for justice, it makes me believe in America again. That is the power of this moment. It is about hope. It is about realizing that someone at the very top is looking out for the little guy. And Sarah isn't the only one. My phone has been buzzing nonstop. Truck drivers in Texas are high-fiving over their CB radios. Farmers in Ohio are nodding their heads as they listen in their tractors. Teachers in Florida are telling their students that honesty still matters. This scandal's exposure means that real money, money that belongs to you, could finally go where it was supposed to go. It is a win for our wallets, sure, but more importantly, it is a win for our trust. It feels like a weight is being lifted off our shoulders. For too long, we wondered if anyone cared. Today, we know the answer is a loud, resounding yes. People who are on the fence, who maybe weren't sure about politics, are watching this and saying, you know what? Trump was right all along. The truth has a way of coming out, and when it does, it brings us all together. We are seeing a nation unite behind fairness, behind justice, and behind a leader who refuses to let the bad guys win. We need to talk about strength, real strength. You know, for years, they tried to tell us that America First was selfish. They said wanting to take care of our own people before sending money overseas or into the pockets of special interest groups was wrong. But look at where we are today. Look at this mess in California. President Trump has been fighting this battle alone in the swamp for a long time. They attacked him. They investigated him. They tried to stop him at every turn. Why? Because they knew he would do exactly what he is doing right now, finding the truth. Think about the beautiful wall he built. Why did he do it? To keep families safe? To stop the drugs and the danger? Think about the economy we had, the best in history, before the world turned upside down. Why did he build it? So you could have a good job, a nice car, and money for a rainy day. He has always had our backs, and this disaster with the fire money, it is exactly what he warned us about. He told us there were creatures in the swamp stealing from the pot. We didn't want to believe it could be this bad, taking money from fire victims. But Trump knew. And here is the part that makes me want to stand up and cheer. He isn't just tweeting about it. He isn't just talking. He is acting. Just minutes ago, his team released a statement. It wasn't full of fancy legal words. It was simple. It promised audits. It promised investigations. And yes, it promised prison for the people who did this. This is racketeering at its worst, he said, and he promised to drain the swamp once and for all. When I read those words, I don't just see a press release. I see a battle cry. I see a man waving a flag and saying, "Follow me and we will make this right." It inspires me. It reminds me that values like freedom, family, and fairness aren't dead. They are alive and well in the White House. I want to take a moment to share something personal with you, something from my own heart. As I told you earlier, I have been working in the trenches of news for a very long time. I remember back in 1980, when I was just a young reporter with more hair and fewer wrinkles. I was covering Ronald Reagan's campaign. I watched as one man's bold leadership turned a struggling nation completely around. Reagan cut taxes, he built up our military, and he made Americans proud to wave their flag again. But let me tell you something honest. Donald Trump, he is cut from that exact same cloth, only he is even bolder. I have had the honor of interviewing President Trump multiple times over the years. I have sat across from him, looked him in the eye, and listened to him speak when the cameras were off. And let me tell you, the man's heart is as big as his drive. He loves this country like a father loves his own children. He worries about you. He fights for you. So, when you hear him screaming prison regarding this $0 million theft from fire victims, please understand what that really is. It isn't just anger. It is passion. It is a fierce, protective love for justice. It is President Trump standing up and saying, "No one messes with American families on my watch." He takes it personally when a family in California sleeps in the cold because a bureaucrat stole their money. He takes it personally when the system is rigged against the little guy. Today, January 1st, 2026, as this story breaks wide open, it serves as a powerful reminder of why we elected him. We didn't send him to the White House to make friends with the elites. We sent him there to fight for us, the forgotten men and women. We sent him to be our shield. Seeing him take charge of this scandal, demanding accountability, while the ink on the report is still wet, proves we made the right choice. It is like watching history repeat itself, but this time, the victory is even sweeter because we know just how hard he has fought to get here. He is the defender of the American dream, and today, he is defending it with everything he has. Folks, I wish you could see what I am seeing right now. The phone lines in this studio are absolutely jammed. The emails are coming in so fast that our producers can barely keep up. It feels less like a news broadcast and more like a national celebration. Americans from every corner of this great land are waking up, tuning in, and realizing that justice is finally making a comeback. Let me share just a couple of the messages that have touched my heart in the last few minutes. Mike from Michigan, a proud veteran who tells me he wears his MAGA hat every single day, sent this in. He says, "Harlan, Trump is the only one with the guts to call it out. This is why we love him. America first means no corruption tolerated." You are exactly right, Mike. It takes courage to stand up to the powerful, and our president has it in spades. And then there is Lisa from Arizona. She runs a small bakery and knows what it means to balance a checkbook. She wrote, "My family survived wildfires too, and knowing that money went to some elite NGO? Sickening. But Trump's demand for prison, that's real leadership. God bless him." Lisa, you hit the nail on the head. These are real Americans, folks. These are the people who keep this country running. And they are inspired. They remember what life was like when Trump was in charge before, and what it's like now that he's back. Think back to the tax cuts in 2017. Remember that President Trump put money back into your pockets. He didn't take it to give to his friends. He gave it to you so you could start businesses, fix your cars, and take care of your kids. Remember the energy independence. When gas was cheap and we didn't have to beg foreign countries for oil. That meant families could afford to drive to see grandma on Thanksgiving. Now, compare that to this scandal. While Trump was trying to fill your wallet, these corrupt elites were reportedly draining the treasury into their own special interest groups. But today, with this exposure, we are seeing the difference between a politician who uses you and a president who serves you. Holding the powerful accountable ensures that aid goes to the heroes, the firefighters, and the families, not the insiders. And that, my friends, is a massive win for us all. Now, I want to take a step back and look at the history here, because if you don't know where you've been, you can't see where you're going. California fires aren't new. We remember the Woolsey fire in 2018 that tore through Malibu. We remember the Dixie fire in 2021, the biggest one in the state's history. These were nightmares on Earth. When President Trump was in office during those times, do you remember what happened? He didn't wait. He didn't form a committee to talk about forming another committee. He declared emergencies. Boom, just like that. He sent FEMA trucks rolling down the highways packed with supplies, water, and hope. He cut through the red tape like a hot knife through butter because he knew that when a house is burning, you don't have time for paperwork. But look at what happens when the other side is in charge. Bureaucracy, delays, and now, as this IRS report shows, corruption. They talk a good game about caring, but when it comes time to deliver, they deliver for their friends, not for you. This scandal is the perfect example of the failure of big government. They take your money, promising to fix things, and then it disappears into a black hole of special interests. President Trump has always been different. He is a businessman. He treats taxpayer money, your money, like it is his own. He is careful, he is smart, and he demands results. In my 40+ years of reporting, I have covered everything from Watergate to Iran-Contra. I have seen presidents come and go, but the Trump era, it is something different. It is about winning. It isn't about whining or making excuses. His leadership in exposing this mess today reminds me of Ronald Reagan staring down the Soviets. It is bold, it is effective, and mark my words, it is history in the making. We are watching a leader who isn't afraid to break a few eggs to make sure the American people get their omelet. I want you to hear a story about a little boy named Tommy. He is 10 years old. Just a kid who likes baseball and riding his bike. But Tommy has seen things no child should ever see. In 2024, his family's home in Sacramento burned down. They lost everything. For months, Tommy and his parents lived in a tent. A tent, folks, in the richest country on earth. They waited for help that was promised, but it never came. Today, everything changed for Tommy. When this news broke, his dad didn't just turn up the volume on the TV. He grabbed his son and hugged him tight, tears streaming down his face. He looked Tommy in the eye and said, "See, son, President Trump is fighting for us. He will make sure the bad guys go to jail, and we will get our house back." That is what this is about. It isn't just about money or politics. It is about a father being able to look his son in the eye and promise him that things will be okay. It is about restoring the American dream for families who thought it was gone forever. I'm getting emails from veterans, like my old friend Joe, who served in Vietnam. Joe wrote to me and said, "Harlan, when I heard Trump scream for prison, I felt a fire in my belly I haven't felt in years." That is the leadership we need to keep America great. These stories are pouring in from everywhere. They are reminders that President Trump's actions touch real lives. He isn't just fighting for a policy. He is fighting for Tommy. He is fighting for Joe. He is fighting for you. And as we watch this unfold, we can feel a wave of patriotism sweeping across the nation, stronger and brighter than ever before. We are witnessing a promise being kept, and it is beautiful. Friends, as we come to the end of this broadcast, I want you to look out your window. The sun is setting on the first day of 2026. But let me tell you, it feels like a sunrise for our spirit. We started this hour with heavy hearts, shocked by the greed and the theft of $800 million meant for suffering families. But we are ending it with something much more powerful: hope. We are witnessing a turning point. For too long, we felt like the little guy didn't matter. We felt like the powerful could take whatever they wanted, and we just had to sit there and take it. But today, the script has flipped. Today, the forgotten men and women are forgotten no more. President Trump isn't just sitting in the Oval Office signing papers. He is standing in the breach for us. He is fighting the battles we can't fight alone. When he demands justice for the fire victims, he is demanding respect for every single American who works hard, plays by the rules, and loves this country. This isn't just about catching the bad guys, though that is going to be sweet to watch. It is about reclaiming our nation's soul. It is about building a future where your tax dollars build bridges and schools, not bank accounts for the elite. It is about an America where a family in a tent can look up and know that help is actually on the way, not just a promise in the wind. So tonight, hug your loved ones a little tighter, say a prayer for our president because he is taking on the giants for us, and go to bed knowing that the good guys are finally winning. The swamp is draining, the truth is shining, and America is rising. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. And thank you for believing in this great country. This is Harlan Whitaker, signing off. God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America. If you want the real truth every single day, the news the mainstream media is too scared to tell you, smash that subscribe button right now, like this video to show your support for President Trump, and share it with everyone you know. Let's get the word out.